Good evening, I'm David Ferris and welcome to this week's edition of The Buzz. Our special guest tonight is Tanya Evans. Tanya's with Duke Power and she's here to talk to us about the proposed pipeline. Welcome back. Tanya, a lot of things are going on with Duke Energy. And first of all, thank you for taking the time to join us today because I know you're busy. Duke is always busy. And, you know, we're excited in our particular region about the pending acquisition of Electricities and the help it'll give us on our utilities. And the reason we're here tonight is another component that I think will help the consumers not only here in the Twin County area, but from Virginia through North Carolina with the gas pipeline. Let's talk about that a little while.
Sure. So a number of years ago with the Clean Air Act, we recognized the need to replace some of our older, less efficient plants with newer, more efficient, environmentally friendly plants. So we have retired or are planning to retire a number of those old coal-fired power plants, and we are building or plan to build new natural gas-fired power plants. And so we have a need for the fuel for those plants. So we have issued a request for proposal to build and construct and maintain a large gas pipeline to these plants, and it goes through North Carolina. And so there is a partnership that was formed with 4 companies. It's Dominion, it's Duke Energy, it's Piedmont Natural Gas, and a company in Atlanta called AGL Resources. And that's how this pipeline came to be.
If we had a map in front of us, it would start, the inception of it is where?
So it starts in West Virginia.
Okay.
And it traverses through West Virginia, into Virginia, and into North Carolina. And there is a little offshoot near Hampton Roads in Virginia that will service that area too. But it's important to know that the pipeline that's going through North Carolina is in a region where we are what we call energy starved. And there is no other natural gas pipeline available there. And this particular pipeline not only serves our needs in terms of getting a reliable and consistent source of natural gas to our power plants, but it also provides a very critical piece of infrastructure for this part of North Carolina.
For the northeastern North Carolina.
That's right, that needs it so desperately for economic development.
We need all of that we can get, and I would think when we're recruiting industry, having that access to gas as readily as we would be a real plus for recruiting a sizable industry. It
would be a game changer, absolutely.
Now, the counties that we're concerned about, of course, it'll come through Nash, it'll come through a piece of Edgecombe, I think. Is that correct? And
sure. So it comes in through Northampton County, actually. It starts there. We'll have a compressor station there. It will go through Halifax, and then it comes into Nash, Edgecombe, Wilson counties. It kind of goes south from there.
What kind of timeline?
Sure. So right now we are in the environmental evaluation phase, permitting, those types of things. So we have a number of environmental permits to get through. We need to be able to site the line. So we're still working on that. But our hope is that we will, if we get all of the approvals and all the permits in place, we'll have this pipeline ready by end of 2018.
Gosh, that's great. So every time, probably every piece of property you go through would have to have environmental, Army Corps of Engineers in some cases, their sign off in it. So you're just not, you know, from our standpoint, from the ecology, you're just not able to go in and say we want to put it here, 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 and we you know, with no regards to how it affects our natural resources here.
Absolutely. So there, as part of that environmental permitting process, we take into a consideration of wetlands, the topography of the land, and not just from environmental standpoint, but for historical significance as well. We want to make sure we don't go through any, we won't go through a cemetery or any historical designated areas, those types of things. There's a host of things that we consider when you cite a line like this.
I would think putting that together is much more difficult than the actual laying of the line as such.
Absolutely. I mean, that's where the lion's share of the work starts, at least. Certainly there is a lot involved in the construction of the process, but one of the things that we found with Dominion, and part of the reason why we asked them for, when they did the RFP, the request for proposal, they have a great history of building these lines and treating landowners with respect. And we want to make sure that that happens in this case as well. And so they will work with landowners to understand where the line would go through on their property during the evaluation period, and take into considerations things that the landowners know that we might not know. And we have, in many cases, have adjusted the line to go around certain things and ensure that we find the most direct route, but the one that also is most appropriate for the area as well.
Well, as a citizen of this area and as a stockholder of Duke, I appreciate that sort of attitude and long view of how the construction would go. Once all that is out of the way, the hard part, making sure that you've got it connected from point A to point B, and the property's secured and all the agreements are done. When you go in and they start the dig, what kind of timeline would, just say going through Nash and Edgecombe and Wilson County, our footprint here with the station, what sort of timeline would that be?
That timeline would be determined again when we get the permits versus when we get into, when we're ready to activate the line. And that can range anywhere depending on weather and what you run into when you dig down, those types of things. But we would expect that to take anywhere from probably 12 to 18 months.
It's not bad, but you'll do it in sections and backfill as you move along. So it's not going to really be that noticeable or that disruptive.
Well, if you're a landowner, of course it would.
Oh,
but
sure.
For the most part, the plan is to construct it all along the way. So we won't start in one end and build it down. We will start sort of all throughout the route and construct it all at once.
Well, that's an intelligent way to do it. Before we break, let's get ready to talk about the economic benefits of what this is going to mean to our area.
Sure.
And northeastern North Carolina as well, creation of jobs, lowering of energy costs and things like that. So when we come back, we'll get into the real benefits that you and I will feel.
Great, sounds good.
As the polar vortex hit during the winter of 2014, consumers were surprised by higher home fuel costs and natural gas shortages. Many asked, how could there be a shortage with the reported abundance of natural gas being discovered in the United States? The problem was not the supply of gas available, but the ability to transport that gas to the market. As the U.S. turns to natural gas for more and more of its energy needs, from power production to manufacturing to household heating, there's an immediate need for new pipelines to deliver the gas to the market. In an effort to meet that need, Dominion has announced a joint venture with Duke Energy, Piedmont Natural Gas, and AGL Resources to propose the Atlantic Coast Pipeline.
The project will mean cleaner air for the region, as state-of-the-art natural gas plants replace coal plants from the 1950s and 60s. Natural gas, as you know, has much lower emissions than coal, and this is particularly true when you are comparing a new natural gas power plant to a 50-year-old coal plant.
The Atlantic Coast Pipeline will be approximately 550 miles long, starting in Harrison County, West Virginia, running through Virginia, and then heading south into North Carolina.
The pipeline will be buried with a minimum of 3 feet of cover in like the woodlands and pasture areas. In agricultural lands, it'll have 4 feet of cover, and under streams and roads, it will have a minimum of 5 feet of cover.
Buried pipelines are the safest way to transport natural gas, and Dominion is recognized as one of the nation's most experienced operators of natural gas pipeline, with more than 8,000 miles of interstate pipeline in 6 states, as well as one of the nation's largest natural gas storage systems, each operating safely with around-the-clock monitoring and frequent inspections. And Dominion is committed to working closely with landowners and other stakeholders, as well as local governments, to identify a route that is the best route, with the least impact on the environment, historical, and cultural resources.
We look for opportunities to minimize our impacts to those resources. And then finally, ultimately, if we have to go through and we're going to have impacts, then we look for ways to offset them. For example, in the Monongahela National Forest, there's the Cheat Mountain salamander. In the George Washington National Forest, there's the cow knob salamander. Those are just not the only species, but 2 examples of species that we got information on within the forest to better refine our route.
The Atlantic Coast Pipeline would be designed, constructed, operated, and maintained safely in accordance with all regulations. The entire construction period will be close to 2 years, but pipelines are built in sections, so construction time may vary in different areas.
The first process you'll see will be the clearing process, namely just the tree felling, and then there'll be a time lapse, and then the rest of the construction crew will come through either later that year or possibly the next year. Once the main construction crew comes through, then it could be a month to maybe 3 months worth of construction activity through his or her property.
During the construction phase, the pipeline will inject more than $456 million annually into the economy and support about 3,000 annual jobs. Local sales tax revenues will increase because of the purchase of material and fuel, and crews finding places to eat, sleep, and shop. Once in place, the Atlantic Coast Pipeline is expected to provide consumers with hundreds of millions of dollars in savings each year in energy costs, and promote the creation of hundreds, if not thousands, of permanent jobs. Increasing the availability of natural gas supplies in the region is important to the economy and the environment. The Atlantic Coast Pipeline will provide a cleaner source of fuel for utilities closing older coal plants and a dependable supply of natural gas for distribution companies and other industries looking to build or expand their operations. For more information on the Atlantic Coast Pipeline, visit dom.com or our Facebook page.
Mr. Varnell, will you take the Bible in your left hand and raise your right, please? Do you, Michael L. Varnell, solemnly swear that you will support and maintain the Constitution and laws of the United States and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina, not inconsistent therewith, and that you will faithfully discharge your duties as fire chief for the city of Rocky Mount to the best of your ability and with respect and dignity at all times?
I do.
Do you also solemnly swear that you will be ever vigilant with regard to the safety of your firefighters, that you will exercise fiscal responsibility, and that you will serve the citizens of the city of Rocky Mount with compassion and courage? So help you God.
I do.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
If you'd like to step forward, we can endorse these documents.
Good afternoon. First, I want to thank City Manager Charles Penny, Assistant City Manager Tasha Logan Ford for allowing me this opportunity to serve. It has been a desire of mine for many years, and today it's becoming a reality. I want to thank the Mayor and City Council for their attendance today and for their support in the days to come. I want to thank the department heads that are here today for their support in this time of transition, and to let you know I'm looking forward to working with you on the leadership team. I want to thank all those today that are representing other public safety organizations. We're in this business together, protecting lives and property, and without each other we would not be successful. For all of the past and present members of the Rocky Mount Fire Department and all your years of service and dedication, I thank you for everything you do each and every day for this city. I look forward to serving, and I'm very honored to be called as the ninth paid fire chief for the city of Rocky Mount. To all our community partners that are here today and friends, I appreciate your support not only today, but in the past, and definitely in the future. Last but not least, my family, my dear wife Ellen, which has been my rock of support through each and every endeavor I've ever taken on. My sons Carter and Micah, you have blessed my life beyond measure. I'm very proud of the young man you've become. Thanks to all my other family members that are here today and friends for your support and prayers over the years and in the future. I will be remiss today if I didn't mention my father. Some of you know he was a firefighter and loved it dearly. But most of you don't know that today Mr. Penny announced my selection was a 2-year anniversary of my dad's passing. I would give anything for him to be here today, but I know he's here in spirit. For my mother, who could not be here for health reasons, I thank Tamika and Mark for making it possible to share with her later. I earnestly believe that our lives are fashioned by choice, that we make choices and our choices make us. Today I want to celebrate a choice I made over 25 years ago, choosing fire service as a career in the city of Rocky Mount family. The fire service has been a great fit for me because I love people and I love serving. John 15:13 says, "Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for another." That verse summarizes what the fire service is all about. A person that is willing to give his life for another fellow man. There is no greater sacrifice on earth. In summary today, I want to leave you with a promise. I want to assure you that I will continue to embrace our department's 5 core values of dedication, respect, honesty, integrity, and teamwork as I lead this organization to the future. None of us know what the future really holds, but I know that if we hold these core values close to our heart and let them lead our decisions, we will be successful and we'll be united in that journey. I thank you all again for coming today, for your support in the future as we strive to leave this department, this city organization, and this community better than we found it. Thank you, and God bless you.
Welcome back, and again our special guest today is Tanya Evans with Duke Power, and Tanya's here to talk to us about the proposed pipeline. Tanya, once the pipeline is the construction begins to take place, let's just say Nash County as an example.
Sure.
What happens here? What are the economic benefits? What difference does it make other than long-term lower heating cost and energy costs? But while that's going on, is there any real economic benefit that we can look forward to?
Absolutely. So we have broken it down. We've asked a third-party group to study the economic impacts of this pipeline, both during construction and also afterwards. And
so just to clarify something, these
sure.
aren't numbers that Duke just pulled out of the sky
Right.
to make us all feel either bad or good.
Sure, right, absolutely. So during construction, throughout the whole project, we can see about 2,800 jobs throughout the pipeline, which is
Wow.
significant. In North Carolina alone, we're estimating that to be about 740 jobs. So that's exciting for this period of construction to have that go through. Once it's completed, we anticipate annual operational jobs to be about 270, and then in North Carolina about 52, because as the pipeline goes through, we'll have a compressor station and then maintenance and whatnot along the way, and so that's where the permanent jobs come into play.
And most of that is in the economic deprived area that we've been referring to, which 52 jobs sounds like an awful nice thing to happen.
That's right, and these are very well paying jobs, and so we're very proud to be able to support that type of economic.
And of course, the dollar value to all of this while it's under construction with hotels, restaurants, shopping, automotive repairs, etc.
It's tremendous, and so we're working on that study too in terms of what the dollar impact is for just what you said. Because when you have those numbers of people working in the area, they're eating at the restaurants, they're staying at the hotels, those types of things. So those are an added benefit in addition just to the jobs. Absolutely.
Well, when just to name one of many recruiting efforts that go on in our area, Carolina Gateway Partnership. If they are out recruiting an industry, it could be a middle-sized industry of 100 or 200 people to several thousand. This certainly helps with our roads as well, with the proposed I-44 and I-95 and all, but having the ability with additional capacity for gas. How do you tap into that? I'm on the outside. I'm with ABC Company, and Frank Harrison and the folks at Carolina Gateway Partnership are talking to me, and I'm thinking, wow, this is great. How do we tap into it? Can you just tap into a line?
So a couple of things there. One is, as I mentioned before, the presence of this line in eastern North Carolina puts you on the map for consideration. So when a large company is looking to expand or to initiate operations somewhere, they have the whole United States or the world to, depending on their company, to pick from. And so what they start doing is they start cutting the list rather than adding to the list. And so this part of North Carolina has traditionally been cut from the list because if there is a natural gas need, we're not able to fulfill that. So this pipeline keeps you on the list.
This levels the playing field somewhat.
Absolutely, it sure does. So if we get to that point, there are two options. One, depending on how big ABC Company is and how much gas they need, there's the option to identify it hopefully early in this process and tap the line. But you have to understand that this is a transmission gas pipeline, so this is a tremendous amount of gas going through. So a customer like that would need a large amount of gas to be able to tap in directly. But the other thing that it does, though, is it fully supports the existing gas infrastructure that's here, and it adds to that capacity as well. So if you are Carolina's Gateway Partnership and you're trying to locate a company that's maybe a large or a mid-sized company that has natural gas needs that we didn't have the capacity before to meet, this pipeline allows the existing structure to be able to meet those needs as well. So it feeds and sort of nurtures what's already there.
That's very exciting because, again, we've had our deficiencies here. And this could be a key component along with the construction of 44 and the redesignation of 64 to I-495. 95. It gives us access to the major ports up and down the East Coast for import-export. And that's got to help us recruit industry.
It's tremendous. It really is, because here, as you mentioned, you've got the highway infrastructure, you've got the access to ports, and with the community college system and the population that are here, you've got an educated workforce. So this is just a key part that was missing before, but it will be here now. And again, it'll keep you on the map. We're also looking at solar and wind as well. We announced a $500 million investment into solar, and and that's in this area as well. So we're committed to evaluating the entire portfolio of renewables plus more baseload type generation. One of the things that separates the southeastern part of the U.S. from everywhere else is energy prices. We have some of the lowest energy prices in the nation. And this pipeline, with the natural gas, a consistent, continuous supply of natural gas, will allow us to keep our energy rates low, which also helps us be competitive.
There's no question about that. This is exciting for us. And Tanya, I want to thank you for taking, again, time out of your schedule and joining us to help educate all of us in this region and give us a lot of exciting news. And we look forward to possibly having you back at a later date to give us an update. And I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us tonight, and I hope you have a good week. Thank you.